Mr. Edit Man presents. What's the most clever thing you have heard in passing? I heard an older gentleman of about 60 say on the phone, while walking off the golf course, I only hit 2 balls today, and that was when I stepped on a rake. Maybe that's a common golf joke, but I'd never heard of it and thought it was great. As I was leaving the bathroom, I heard a man say urinal conversation is alright, as long as the guy does not compliment you on your watch. So I'm at the grocery store and there's this guy walking around hoss, either schizophrenic or on drugs. Bath salts. No doubt. Anyway, I overhear 2 employees talking, and the one guy says to the other, "Hey, you might wanna call security. This guy over here is talking to the yogurt." Without missing a beat, the other guy responds. Cannot blame him really. The yogurt's more cultured than anyone in here. I do not think the first employee really took the time to appreciate what his coworker had said, but I found it ducking hilarious. Friend. What are you up to? Me. Standing around looking pretty. His brother, who I have never met nor been introduced to. When are you going to start? A friend and I were eating at a burrito joint near our campus once, and we ran into one of our professors. One of us awkwardly said, "I guess great minds think alike, right?" To which the professor, without missing a beat, said, "And in this case ours did too." Took me a full 5 seconds before I got it. As I entered the train station, I glanced at the clock and realized I'd probably missed my train by at least 10 minutes. No big deal. I was pretty sure they were every 15 or 30 minutes. I approach the ticket kiosk and the following conversation takes place. Tim, "Yes mate." Me, "Return ticket to Dirk please." Tim, £3.40 please. Me hands him the cash, and as he prints off the tickets I say, "Me, any idea how long the next train will be?" Tim, "Without missing a beat, they're usually 3 to 5 carriages." Me, "The cogs turn, luckily I figure out the joke in a reasonable time frame lol." Tim, "I'm so happy. I never get to use that joke." He was so pleased with himself. Cannot blame him really. Awesome joke and delivered with superb timing. A conversation about name shortening and changing, i.e. Elizabeth to Beth. Then it got to confusing ones like Teddy being short for Edward. Then, friend 1. "How do you get Dick from Richard?" Friend 2. "Take him out on a date first." Overheard at the grocery store yesterday, a man was explaining to his around 8-year-old kid that steaks come from cows. The boy says, "Why do they have to kill innocent cows?" And without missing a beat, the dad says, "Because there's not a lot of guilty cows running around." I was in charge of running the sack race for my elementary school this year. The 4th grade was racing, and when they were done, this kid walks back towards the starting line with his potato sack in his hand and says to no one in particular, "I thought I had that in the bag." I gave him a high five. I overheard a Radio Shack employee telling his coworker about a prank he pulled at a wedding the weekend before. He said that he bought a cheap cake at the supermarket on the way, and during dinner he went out to his car and cut a slice. He approached the bride and groom while eating it to tell them the cake was delicious and that they made a great choice. The bride and groom were outraged, assuming he had cut their wedding cake before they got the chance to do it. Walking through the grocery store, I overhear the following conversation. Dad to 5-ish-year-old son, "Do you want to get out of the cart and walk about?" Son, "Yeah." Dad, "Are you going to be good?" Son, "No, I'm a little malarkey." Dad, "Well then ... I burst out laughing, clever enough to be honest. A big guy at a bar said something that still makes me giggle to this day. A guy standing next to him farted loud enough to be heard by multiple people, and the big guy looked at him half offensively and said, "What that asshole just say to me?" Some bitch walked up to my mate while he was trying to flirt with someone. She then proceeded to insult his looks. His response was some like, "You can talk, love. I will not ride you into battle." I almost coughed up a lung. My grandma was a hairdresser and would do the hair of dead people before funerals. Somehow the fact that she had done the hair of her dead mother came up. To this someone said, "That must have been really hard." As in emotionally. My grandma just looked at them like they were dumb and said, "No, it's easy. You only have to do the front half." Clever retort from an Australian guy when I was in college. People trying to hand out Bibles on campus. "Man, would you like a copy of the Old Testament?" Australian, "No thanks. I have the new one." "Hey, have you seen The Passion of the Christ?" "No, but I have read the book. It took me a bit to process it, but it was pretty clever." I was standing in the queue at a convenience store with a couple of my friends after a night of heavy drinking, when the girl behind me starts incessantly making rude comments about my weight to her friends. I'm very thin. I try to ignore it and finish buying my supplies. We head outside and I open a pasty I had bought and start eating it while talking to my friend, just as the same group of girls walks past us. The lead bitch then exclaims, "Oh, so he does really eat then?" in the most acerbic sarcastic tone she could muster. My friend gets annoyed for me and without missing a beat says, "So do you by the looks of it, love." Needless to say, her face was a picture. My dad once yelled at a couple of young guys driving really fast down our street, "Hey, slow that piece of malarkey down." The guys stop and the one on the passenger side rolls down his window and asks in a dangerous tone, "Are you talking about my car?" My dad looks past him to the driver and replies, "No, I'm talking about your friend." Friend 1. They sure have crazy warnings on packages these days. For example, on my kid's Batman Halloween costume, there was a warning label that said, "Caution. Wearing cape does not enable wearer to fly." Friend 2. Of course not. Batman can not fly. On the street near one of those guys who spreads the word of God ... pointing at a tall overweight black guy ... he shouts, "You sir are going to hell ... With a shrug the black guy goes, "Nah man, in going to HMV. You're going to hell for lying to me." Friend of a friend was entering Australia, going through customs. Them. "Have you ever been convicted of a felony?" Him. "I did not know it was still a requirement." They eventually did let him in, but they were clearly not happy with him. I heard a man say to another man, "When you have a good till you have to build a shed over it." He said this while patting his very large belly. Mother and daughter. She was probably 7 or 8, sitting on the park bench across from me eating lunch. When the daughter started picking the crusts off her sandwich, her mother said, "Please eat the crust, name. It's the healthiest part." The daughter looked at her mother with teasing innocence and replied, "Please explain how the baking process makes healthy things rise to the surface of dough," and went back to eating. I was so surprised at her I failed to process the humor for about 30 seconds, at which point I awkwardly laughed to myself, sat like, "Good day at the park." I was in New York, walking to my car outside a shopping complex, when I overheard 2 middle-aged women arguing. Woman 1. "Jim, some money." Woman 2. "I ain't not got no money." Woman 1. "I know you ain't not got no money. So Jim some. And that's why you do not use double negatives." I heard someone in a pub saying they should make the entrances for fast food restaurants narrower to curb obesity. On reflection, a very clever solution. Better idea. Treadmill going just slow enough to get past, but fast enough for a decent workout before getting in. 2 girls chatting on the bus. Girl 1: "Wouldn't it be so cool to just take home a complete stranger and duck the malarkey out of him and then just dump him and never ever see him again?" Girl 2: "Totally." Guy sitting in front of them who obviously heard them turns around, "Hi, I'm John." Heard this walking behind 2 students. Student 1: "I forgot to take my memory pill." Student 2: "I guess it's not working." Edit. If you are enjoying this video, leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. Not so much clever as ... unexpectedly assimilated. In an elevator. 2 beautiful, impeccable dressed young women get on. One is on her mobile. Thick somewhere accent. She ends the conversation when she sees me and we all stand there in awkward elevator silence, listening to whatever MIDI file was coming from the speakers. The girl with the phone turns to her friend and says, "I know this song, but I cannot remember the name. It's so 80s ... The other girl, without even looking up, and no accent, says instantly and dryly, "Yeah, just like your outfit." Accent girl lets out a half gasp / half laugh. Then there's about a second of silence and the other girl screams, "Bam, it's crazy up in here," and gives me a high five. Then accent girl says, "Yeah, just like your eyebrows," and then did the whitest finger snapping happy dance I'd ever seen. I was refilling the salad bar while waitressing one evening and overheard the following from a nearby table of about 10 women. "You know how birds mate for life? Well, the next time one of them runs into your window, just think ... it was the only way out." Girl hanging out with a guy and what looks to be his little brother. Guy: "You dating anyone?" Girl: "Nah, do not have time for that." Little brother: "Maybe you're a lesbian." Girl: "Yeah, if the choice is between women and you." She said it without missing a beat and her delivery made my balls sting. In a good way. I know the girl too. She's a nutbreaker. In a good way. A child and his babysitter sitting in line as the babysitter pulls out her flip phone. At the sight of the dinosaur, the boy takes out his iPhone and emits a snide "Hey, I have an iPhone." Calmly yet assertively, the babysitter looks down and says, "Oh, well at least I had a childhood. So sue me." Friend's mother. What are you doing? Friend. Thinking. Friend's mother. I thought I smelled something burning. I completely lost it. You have made it until the end of this video. Now listen here, and listen here closely. Like and subscribe for more curated content from Mr. Edit Man. Thanks for watching.